Hey friend, today we're going to make over these lamps that you see. I've been collecting these lamps for the past several months and I've been using them in my house and it's time to make them over. My name is Cindy and I'm with ReinventedDelaware.com. We love to reinvent and repurpose all sorts of things, and today we're taking these lamps that cost $2 to $3, maybe $6, and make them over. This first lamp came with this plastic shade that has the formed pleats in it. It was very cracked. The inside was dry rotted. It was in bad shape and it was filthy. So I happen to have this other shade because I like buying these kind of framed shades. And I thought we could do something with this. So first step is to put on that apron because I have my new navy blue shirt on and I don't want paint all over it, and that little apron really helps. By the way, I have a video for that. I'll link that video down below, so if you want one of these aprons, you can make one for yourself. So to start off, I sprayed that fabric lampshade with that fine mister spray bottle, and then I started to paint it using this color. It's called Sun-Kissed. It's a nice soft, kind of a pale yellow, but almost ivory kind of a color. Really pretty on here. And then it was time to tackle the brass part, or at least the metal part of this lamp. I didn't know if it was brass or not, but I like using this Brite product. It usually works so well, and I started polishing and I just was not getting anywhere. So then I thought, well, maybe I just need to clean it with white lightning. This is a TSP alternative and it cleans really well. I use it for furniture makeovers. Anyway, it didn't budge what was on this. I didn't know if it was brass or metal or what, so I did the magnet test. That's a way to tell if metal is real brass or not. It is not, you can't stick a magnet to brass because it just won't do it. Other metals you can. So you can see on the harp of that lamp, that little magnet piece stuck right to it right away. But the base of this lamp, it did not. So it is real brass. It just has me stumped because it's very pitted. So I'm not sure how I'm going to handle the finished look of this. Let's see. I'll continue cleaning it. And anyway, about learning about brass and whether it's the real deal or not, I have a great blog post. I'm going to link that down below, and I'll take you step by step how to figure out if something is real brass or not, or if it's just a metal painted to look like brass. I mean, we've done that here before, right? And anyway, you'll see that link down below in the description. Let's get back to cleaning this lamp. So we're on hold for the base part, but I decided to clean the cord. I know this sounds weird, but cords on thrift store lamps are filthy. So all you have to do is a microfiber cloth, you put some of that TSP cleaner on there, and you just squeeze the cord and go over it and over it and over it as much as you can to get off all of the years of yuck. So that's the magnet on that stainless steel, that 4/0 stainless steel. I grabbed a piece of that and I thought, well, I can polish this brass with this 4/0 stainless steel. It usually works so good to do this on other things. I've even used stainless steel to clean glass, believe it or not. Anyway, I went back to this Brite. This is a great product and I just don't think I gave it enough effort before. So this time I just determined in my mind it was going to have to be really polished, and you can see this Brite and that soft scrubby cleaner just took off all of the residue. Now it took some elbow grease to get through that layer of years and years and years of tarnish, but I think it was worth it. By the way, I really should have worn gloves while I was polishing that lamp. Are you a project jumper? I sure am. So if you are, we're in good company. I grabbed this lampshade off of this lamp, and you know, it really wasn't in that bad of shape, except that it was dirty. I probably could have just cleaned it really well and gotten away with it, but I decided to get a little creative and do something else. We used to have a vendor booth and we sold lots of lamps that I made over, and one of the most popular lamps that I sold always had a lampshade with Mod Podge and book pages on it. People really did enjoy it. So I still have that same dictionary that I've been using, and that's what I'm going to cover this lampshade with. You can use all sorts of paper to cover a lampshade. Now it does need to be kind of thin because you're going to have to work around some curves. You see this lampshade has some really pretty curves to it, and you got to consider that when you choose your paper. This paper from the dictionary is really thin. You could also use sheet music. I've done that a lot. People love it. It's really a pretty look. The easiest way to work around the areas where it doesn't want to lie flat is to just cut these little slits in the paper. That way you can use your fingers and make the paper lay down flat. You can use a similar technique when you're working around this kind of a shade that's also got a shape. It's not perfectly round. It's got 4 different distinct sides. So I just use the Mod Podge right up to the edge, and then again I clip it, and that helps me to work around that corner. Here's a quick tip. If you're using a dictionary, be aware of what word is going to show on that lampshade cover because it could be a little awkward. Back to the brass lamp. After doing that fun project on the lampshade, I finished polishing and look how much better it looks. Now for the base of this lamp, this is going to be easy. I'm going to clean that cord the same way I clean the other cord. Believe me, they're all disgusting, these cords. It is definitely my pet peeve, these cords that are dirty. I don't know, is that weird? Have you ever thought about how dirty a cord can get on a lamp? I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. After the lamp was clean, I grabbed some black paint and I gave this whole thing 2 coats of paint. And then I'm going to do another technique that I've done here on the channel before. I will link that video. I have used this same technique on thrift store frames and they turn out really pretty. I'll have that video linked down in the description. I've got another cord to clean on this lamp. And now listen, this lamp has been in our house for over a year. I've been using it and it's one of my favorite lamps. It sits in our living room. It just needed to be refreshed. Now I have some questions about it. We'll get to that here in a minute. First, I'm just going to give the whole thing a good cleaning. This time I moved into the kitchen to clean this lamp. I'm going to use the same cleaner. This Earth Brite stuff is great. And it comes with this little scrubber, and I'm going to use this on this brass lamp. This lamp is brass. I already tested it, and I know that. So one of the things that I tried with this lamp, and I can't decide if I like it or not, and you'll have to tell me down in the comments, I wanted to have some of the tarnish left, but I wanted some of the pretty brass to show through. So much like distressing furniture, I just cleaned the high spots of the lamp, and the deeper areas where there's curves and the kind of the recessed areas, I left the tarnish. You'll see later in this video, the tarnished areas, and you let me know down below in the comments if you like that look, or should I go back and just polish the whole thing? I love a pretty finial on a lamp, and this one came with this really pretty one, but it looked pretty rough. It's not brass, there's no polishing it, it's just some kind of metal. So I'm going to use this gold gilding wax on it to make it look as though it's brass. We've used this product here before on this channel, and it's the Wonder product. Now, you've heard of Rub and Buff, I know you have, but you really get a lot more money if you bang for your buck. That's what I meant to say. Bang for your buck if you use this product. It comes like in a little tub. You get a whole lot of it for, I think, $14, and it lasts for a long time because it goes a long way. I've had this one little tub, and I've used it on hardware and lamp parts. I've used it on all sorts of projects, and it really does last a long time, and the look is pretty. And it also comes in other colors, not just gold. It comes in silver and copper and other colors, so I'll leave a link so you can check it out. Remember that I said that we use this technique on a thrift store frame. Well, this is what it is. You paint the item black, and then you take a little bit of that gold wax and you just hit it. Well, you first of all put it on a paper towel and then just kind of hit the high areas, and it looks as though some brass is coming through. It's really a pretty look, especially on a piece that has a lot of detail. Like this particular lamp, it had a lot of little details, and I knew that they would show up really well. Love how this turned out. Let me know down in the comments, do you like this look of black paint first and then the gold over top? It's interesting what you find at the thrift store. This is a real brass lamp, and the lampshade left a lot to be desired. That fabric on there is like a vinyl shower curtain liner. It was so cheap feeling, very weird. But the frame of that lampshade is going to come in handy. So you'll see that here in a minute. First off, let's clean the lampshade, or the lamp, and then of course we're going to clean that cord as well. Now this is a real brass lamp. You can see with the magnet test, it's real brass. So that's great. And it looked a little bit dirty. I could have grabbed the Earth Brite and given it a good polish, but I decided to add a little bit of that gilding wax to it to create just a little different look on that brass. This gilding wax looks so good on any metal. It's such a versatile product. I have used it a lot. Let's do something about this fabric. Now, I'm not going to remove the fabric. I just didn't think it was necessary. I guess you could if you wanted to, but for this lamp, I just didn't think it was necessary. I have a lot of scrap fabric, and I have this beautiful piece of linen that one of my good friends sent to me in the mail. So thank you so much, Karen, for sending me this little scrap of fabric. I knew that it would come in handy. It is a solid piece of linen, and it was just the right size, top to bottom. It would fit, and then it would also fit all the way around this lampshade. Now, I mentioned that the frame is in really good shape. So this kind of lampshade has the circle at the bottom and then a smaller circle at the top, and then it has the boning, I don't know what to call that connects the top to the bottom. It's all in there, so it's a really good base. These lampshades can be expensive, so it's a good idea if you find them to grab them, because you can fit a lampshade on just about any lamp. So what I did was I just used my hot glue gun, and I took that piece of linen fabric and some clothespins, and I just went around and I hot glued it to the bottom edge. This is the larger of the two circle shapes. The bottom of it is always bigger, of course. So I just used my hot glue and I glued the fabric around, and I left some excess so that I could kind of tuck it inside the lampshade. Now it's time to work on the top part of the lampshade, and you can see that framing comes right up. So I just eyeballed it and I used hot glue to tack down that top. I'm going to have excess fabric at the top, of course, because it is a smaller circle. So I'll work with that. We're going to do something pretty, but for the time being, I'm just going to go around and glue and use my clothespins to hold it still between the two vertical frames, wires that connect the two top circles. Golly, I wish I knew what this stuff was called so that I could describe it, but I hope that that makes sense what I'm doing here. Now the hot glue is between those two wire frames. That means that at each of the vertical wire frames, I'm going to fold it and put a pleat there. This way I didn't have to do too much measuring. I just used the markers basically that were on the lampshade as my measuring. I mean, if you want to measure, you could. I just used the existing frame as a way of determining where I would glue and where I would add these little pleats. I just folded down the pleat, and I did have to stick a little bit of glue inside that little fold to hold it down. I just held it really snug until it was dry, and boom, you have a little pleat. I worked my way around to the beginning part of where I started. I cut off the excess, and then I folded it so that it would just look like another pleat, and you won't even be able to tell where the cut line is. It's just going to look like another pleat. Once that was done, I cut away the excess that was on the top inside of the lampshade. To trim the top and the bottom of this lampshade, I tried two different versions of a scrap of fabric. I didn't like either one of those ways, so I grabbed my trusty jute braid trim and just used hot glue and glued all the way around. If you decide to use this kind of trim, don't start the gluing right at the edge. Give yourself some excess. That way when you work around to the edge, you can kind of combine them and you won't even be able to tell where one starts and the other ends. It's super easy to do this. I did make sure that this seam for the trim matched up with the pleat, the end pleat of this lampshade, so that I could turn it towards the back. When you're finished with using this trim, and before you put it away, put some hot glue on the end so it won't ravel. I think I forgot to record this, but before I painted that lampshade, I took off all of the trim that was on the inside of it and I saved it. That way when I finished painting, I could use that same trim and glue it right back over top of the messy edge after I finished painting it. This lampshade makeover is the easiest of all of today's projects. All I had to do was apply a little bit of glue in some of the areas where the trim was peeling off. And then I got a clean microfiber cloth with just water, and I really wiped it down well. Now I think I forgot to video record that. All I had to do was wipe it down well and it was good to go. The lampshade color was already so pretty, and the shape of this lampshade is really by far my favorite. And it does go with that lamp. They came together. I think I paid about $6 for this whole set. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I hope that you're inspired to go shopping at the thrift store, find some lamps, and make them over for your home. Join me in my Facebook group called Recreate and Decorate so you can share your next thrift store project. Keep watching because I have some fun bloopers at the end. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.